Put your famous penis, of course, shirt on tomorrow. Wear it with pride.
I know you'll know where we were when. I know you'll know where we were when.
Hello and welcome to Where We Were When, a podcast where we look back at our most memorable movie-going experiences of our youth and eat candy. I'm Heidi Gardner, and I'm joined by my co-host, as always, my brother, Justin. Hello, Justin.
Hey, Heidi. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing very well. The Oscars were recently. I don't know when this is going to come out, but they were recently, so this is my tribute to them.
I love it.
You didn't say anything, so I had to just call out my own clothes.
Yeah, well, so I this was the first year I didn't actually watch the Oscars for a long time. I hadn't seen like any of the movies, and so I felt really like I shouldn't participate, or have an opinion,
Sure.
I'm really glad that they turned out the way that they turned out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the result of 2020,
Yeah. Well, honestly, I'm glad that you didn't watch any movies this year because we don't even really talk about movies this year. We talk about movies from Where We Were When. And it's not just you and me talking this week, Justin. Hate to break it to you. This show's not about you. And it's not about me.
You're right. This week, it's about somebody that you know very well.
Yes. So our guest this week actually works with me. I work with him at Saturday Night Live, otherwise known as SNL. He is a director on the show. He's directed probably anybody who's listening, probably some of your like favorite videos of the last few years. Definitely favorite this year. He directed one called Loco, which I know y'all know.
Amazing.
He's directed last season. He directed the Joker Grouch. I don't want to even call it a parody because it was really just like an incredible short film that also happened to be
It should be a movie.
Yes.
It should be a movie. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they should do that movie.
Before I got to SNL and was just a huge fan, he directed the Totino's Pizza Roll with Kristen Stewart and Vanessa Bayer. Again, should be a movie.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. You've got all the emotional backstory. It's a journey in and of itself.
It was kind of like the first lesbian period drama, and then all the other.
That's
ones.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also did Friendos with Chris Redd. Remember that one? That was hilarious. That was incredible. So, and those are some of the amazing things he's directed. His name's Paul Briganti. Hi, Paul.
Hi. How's it going?
Thank you so much
hey guys.
for being on our podcast. We're really happy you're here.
Thank you for having me. I also love your sweatshirt.
Well,
I feel like we maybe talked about it or something, right? When
we
you
did
were
talk
thinking
about it. Yeah, because I kind of noticed the more I got to know you at work that you also, not only do you like movies, but it also seemed like sometimes you wore movie shit and stupid stuff occasionally.
I didn't know about that reputation I had. The stupid movie clothes guy. But I agree with that.
Yeah. And
yeah. I have, definitely.
Yes. And so when I saw this on Etsy, because I'll oftentimes just be searching for like old crew jackets or like movie sweatshirts if like one comes to mind. Like if I'm thinking about Death Becomes Her, I'll be like, I wonder if they have a sweatshirt of that. And when I saw this, I thought of you, Paul, because I was like, that would look so bad if some director you were working with was wearing like an Oscar crew jacket on set. He would look like an asshole.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I like it a lot. And I also I think I like bought something that we talked about me getting. and I still haven't worn it because I'm like too self-conscious to wear it anywhere, especially at work. But I think it's like a Paramount jacket or something. It says like Paramount Studios, and I bought it, and it's just kind of sitting every time I open my closet. It's just kind of like looking at me, being like, "Are you man enough to wear me?" And I'm like, "No."
It's really cool. I know what you're talking
cool.
about. And
Yeah.
it's
But let me ask a question though. Is the career getting in the way of like your fashion life? Like, is it like
No.
stymieing your
Well,
self-expression?
It's not
Because I would think that
career.
like
Yeah. I it's not career, it's just my personality because like I did this. I feel like we'll kind of talk about the kid I was, but I was the kind of kid who would like buy interesting or provocative shirts or hoodies at like Hot Topic, and then I just would never wear them because I was too nervous to wear them. So I had one that I remember especially. It was like when I was like 11 or 12, there was a shirt that was like Playboy Pool Boy, the pool guy at the Playboy Mansion or something. And I was like, ooh, this is cool. And then I like just never wore it because like I just am horrified at someone asking me about it. Like, because if you're the funny shirt person, then you have to like follow it up with some sort of owning it afterwards.
You gotta-
And I just don't think I could do that. I think Heidi, you are like known more for like vintage stuff. So it's less outside of your zone if you're wearing something like that.
I get it too. If it's also like if you're the earnest shirt guy, because that Paramount thing you bought is pretty earnest. It looks like it's from like the 50s or 60s. Like your grandfather worked on the lot or something and passed it on to you. Yeah.
Maybe I'll just tell that story if people ask me about it, you know?
Yes. See, that would be good.
we have to now.
I think I just want to just say this too. I think in that same text conversation where I was saying you should buy that, I also feel like I'd sent you a shirt that is on Etsy that I also wish a director would wear that says, "I'd rather be watching Kubrick." And I wish that you would wear that on set sometime. And you'd look like such a dick.
Maybe I should.
For those who didn't
like,
get it. You should.
I love the idea of like, because when like the host comes in, they don't really know anyone. And it'd just be so funny for them to be like, what is that guy's deal? Is he serious? And like, I just like not mentioning it, but them thinking I'm that guy.
It's an immediate, he sucks. This guy sucks.
Which is fully what you want when you are wearing anything. But I love the sweater. And I also love your sweatshirt, Justin. I did the SNL.
Did you see it?
Yeah. I love that's my favorite one. I love that sweatshirt.
Yeah, this was an Ernestine Eileen Hilke gift to me. She came to the show. She got her hands on this somehow. I'm not quite sure. And she's like, "Honey, I've got something for you. You're gonna love it."
That's
and she
our
was
mom, Paul.
right. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Those are hard to come by. It's amazing.
She procured this in some fashion. I hope that she procured it.
How do you think she procured it, Justin?
I hope she didn't steal it.
She didn't steal it. Her daughter gave it to her. That's how it happened.
Well, that was
She would really need to like. She needs to know her way around the office, like where things are kept.
You kind of long walk that, like that was like but she didn't say that. She didn't tell me that. She's like, "I got this for you."
Oh.
Right. So
and maybe she did.
Yeah. So
maybe she still has the one I got her. Who knows?
And I also have at some point I'm gonna have to like wear the Yoda penis cake. One that you have as well. That's a funny one.
Yeah,
I've never wore. I can't wear that one.
Is that one
outside?
That's the one you can't wear.
Yeah, I mean for sure. Right. Like, there's been times where I've. What does it say? It's like a line from a sketch or something. Is at the writers' party they handed him out. It's like Yoda with his like. It looks like he's holding his penis, but he's holding a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's Yoda and his famous penis, of course, or something like that.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. That's Yoda and his famous penis, of course, right? And I have worn that outside of my own house around.
Anything? Did you get any looks or
hugs? I'm sure I did. but at this point, Paul, I just don't care. I'm
I want that.
I'm comfortable with it. I'm just like, this is me.
I
Here
hope
it
I
is.
get there one day.
You will.
Thank you.
I promise.
And you might get there by the end of this. You might. That's the amazing thing about this podcast is that
Does that happen a
You-
lot? Do people really go through a lot and come out the other side on this podcast?
Well, you're the first. So
Great.
we're
hoping.
Paul, you tell us, right?
Wow.
So,
I'm
the hope
honored. This is cool.
that the hope is that through the journey that you're about to take with us,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
On the other end, Paul Briganti is just as talented,
Mhm.
but might have just a little bit more confidence to wear the t-shirts and jackets that he wants to.
I'll wear the penis Yoda shirt.
Okay.
And you'll
All
be
right.
getting-
We're
maybe.
making progress. We're making progress.
You'll be
already.
getting a survey at the end of this where you have to grade
Great.
us and the podcast and what you got out of it and if you're
how
a
I
different guy
changed.
or not. Yeah.
Cool.
So.
You'll get a survey monkey link,
Uh-huh.
and it's all online. So it's automated.
Okay,
It's
great.
really easy.
That
We
sounds-
try to make it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds ideal.
It's great. And the other great thing about this podcast, because we're really going to talk about you. We're going to talk about who you were, movies that you remember seeing. But the way that we break out into our discussion is that I always send Justin a little treat because we're going to be talking about movies and you need a treat of some sort. And I also sent that to you, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, because I was
I
really
have it.
busy. I'm sending shit to Missouri. I'm sending shit to LA. I'm
Hey,
getting my own shit over.
I didn't say you weren't busy. I'm sorry that it was really hard for you to send me candy. I didn't really ask. I didn't ask for it, and now you're loading.
Okay, well, honestly, you don't have to eat it. I feel like
Right.
once you open it, you're going to be very thankful.
Cool.
This is just one I thought was I don't know if it's the most popular concession stand candy, but I don't know. I think it's a special one, and I thought Paul was special enough to get this one.
Yeah.
So
Wow. So let's
please
cool.
go ahead and open your candies.
Okay.
Okay. So this is I've got this really taped together situation here.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
getting
really
through it.
elaborately. Did you tape it together, Heidi, or did you have someone?
My assistant did it.
Right. Her cats
Yes.
did that.
I have 3 assistants.
They don't really know how to do anything subtly, so they used way too much tape.
I mean, that's pretty good.
So
for
this
cats.
is strange. I've got somebody cut out a priority mail box to make sure that it didn't get crushed.
Oh, sweet. My cat.
So yeah, so Tweaky somehow understands that candy could get crushed and ruin my experience. So
Wow.
Tweaks, I appreciate it. Oh, look at what we have.
Everybody,
too.
Bites.
everyone hold it up.
Sure.
Butterfinger
Butterfinger
bites.
bites.
Butterfinger
Bart
bites.
Simpson's favorite.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna kick things off by saying I didn't get Butterfinger a lot at the movie theaters, and I'm gonna admit something. I always felt like Butterfinger was too good for me or something. I don't know. I felt like Butterfinger was elite candy.
You thought that you weren't good enough for it?
Yeah. Seriously, I don't know. It's just Butterfinger felt upper class to me. Is that
Yeah.
weird?
There was something premium.
Yeah.
There was something premium about the Butterfinger bites,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And just the
they were
Butterfinger bar.
There were bites and there were BBs, right? Were
Yeah.
BBs a thing?
Yeah. BBs
the
were a thing.
BBs. That's right.
They were smaller bites, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken.
Yeah. So there was the Butterfinger, then the bites, then the BBs.
I love these
Paul-
so
And
much.
these are so rich. These are so rich. They're delicious.
Mm.
I used to work at Dairy Queen when I was in high school, and this
Oh
was
my
my favorite.
God.
It was the best. This was my favorite. candy.
Paul, we lived across the street from Dairy Queen.
Really?
Yeah, right across the street.
Oh my God.
What was it like to work there?
It was fun. I mean, it was great. I mean, it was like my first job.
Had to be.
Yeah, and I was like 16. I worked there for a few years. It was funny because when you first started working there, Dairy Queen was doing really well. So like I could just give free stuff to all my friends. And then like, I don't know, something happened where like my boss wasn't doing as well or something. So he was like, no more free ice cream for your friends. So like it was awful because I set up the expectation with all my friends. Like I give them whatever, and then they would just come and like be like, give me the free thing. And I'd be like, we can't anymore. It was really, really hard. It was a weird roller coaster of my social worth.
I totally.
Yeah, did that significantly impact? Like
Yeah.
people were saying, Paul can hook us up with the free
And then
ice
like the cool
cream.
kids would come.
And then
Yeah.
right.
Cool kids would come and I would be like, oh no, I can't do it anymore. Times are tough.
Important lesson though, because you know what? They show up for the free stuff, but they're not there in the hard times.
That's true.
Right?
Well, Justin, Paul, I feel you on that because when I was 16,
I know what you're gonna say. I was actually going to like bring this up. Can I tell this? I know what you're gonna say.
Go for it.
Do you want to tell the story? Okay,
No, you
so
can't.
I
You
feel
have the
really
guts.
bad because I got Heidi fired.
Whoa.
I got Heidi fired because she used to work at a place called Mesa Wraps in Westport in Kansas City. It's kind of like the hip, like cool place to like have lunch and be seen. And it was the bar district. She was working at Mesa Wraps. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't come in asking for free burritos.
You
But
guys,
somehow-
this was Chipotle before Chipotle existed. This was a big
It was.
deal.
It was.
It was OG. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I came in and I was, I just somehow I got a free burrito in my hands one day because Heidi either just decided that she wanted to give me a free burrito, and I apparently thought that was just what was going to happen for the next 80 lunches. So I think she just set an expectation that she couldn't walk back.
Yeah.
And
So Heidi, did you feel like you
What-
couldn't not do it anymore? You felt pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I think I felt that way that you were saying, how like even to the cool people, it was like that's what they expected. I mean, this is my
Yeah,
own
yeah.
brother, but like, he was 6 years older than me. He's coming in on his lunch break. It's like, yeah, I don't know how to. I literally didn't have the skills at 16, and I barely have them today as an adult to say no. So
I can't do this anymore. Yeah.
yeah, like, and I did. I had gotten a talk from the boss, Matt, because I think he knew it wasn't just me. A lot of people were giving away free burritos. So it was like, guys, this stops, like no more free burritos. They can get the 20% family discount, whatever.
Mhm.
And
I didn't even know about the 20% family discount.
I know, I just did. I
I
don't
didn't
know.
even know about it.
I was trying to be your cool little sister and hook you up with burritos. And then,
Well, and you were like, that was amazing.
yeah.
That's why I utilized it to the degree that I did.
And I don't mean to be a jerk, but there was this like kind of nasty cook there who was like, I was like 16 and he was like, always hitting on the younger girls and stuff. And like, I'd love to say I turned him down, but I was 16 and I didn't even know what like even like flirting what. I don't know. I was
Yeah.
underdeveloped. So I don't know. I think he was throwing out game and I was just probably like, hey, have you seen Speed or something? I don't know. I was like, I was not on the level. I was
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And he was the one who ended up, I think because I wasn't like receptive to whatever he was throwing down, he was the one that told on me. He was like, she
Oh
gave
my
her
God.
brother a free burrito. And he got me fired.
But
And his
that
name was
is-
John.
Oh, that is crazy. Like I never heard that part of the story. I just heard that like I thought I got you fired. I mean, I
Well,
think
you kind of
technically
did. You
You
sort of
did.
did.
I kind of did.
Yeah.
But it
And
was
he-
really this fucking creep
Yeah.
who just wow.
Told on me.
That really
That's
puts a
insane.
button on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Man.
Anyhow, I
Fast
understand
food memories.
what you were going through.
What was it like when you got fired? Like, what was the
It felt
situation? Was it tough?
really weird. I got a call. There was a we had a voicemail on our home phone at my mom's, and it was like, "Hey Heidi, it's Matt. Give me a call." And that was Matt Walker at Mesa Apps. And so I called him, and he was like, "Hey Heidi, I hate to do this, but I think we already had the talk about giving away free burritos." And I was like,
Ugh.
"Uh-huh." And he was like, and I have information that yesterday you gave a free burrito to your brother. And
Ugh.
you know,
And he
talking
knew who I was. He knew who I was too. It wasn't just like gave a free burrito away. It's like yet again to your greedy ass brother who comes in every day
yeah,
to
and
get his free shit.
I really want to believe, just because of the kid I was, that I lied and said like, no, I didn't. And I believe that I did, and he still didn't believe me. He was like, "You know what, Heidi, but there's been like a pattern of this. I know you've given him some, and I know you've given friends." And yeah, so then I went to not like clean out my desk at Mesa Apps, but I think I had to go like pick up a check or something. And it was the other people that work there that I was friends with that were like, "Yeah, John ratted you out and stuff." And I think
Ugh.
I remember the quote, like, "That little bitch thinks she's better than me," or something.
Ugh.
But I was just like,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, John, she was, and she still is.
Yeah. Yeah. If you didn't get fired, you might be still working there, and you never would have, moved
Yeah.
on.
That's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of moving on, Paul, you moved on from Dairy Queen to become a director on SNL, which
Those
I
two jobs
mentioned.
that came right after that. Yeah. I was like
Yeah,
on
I
Dairy
know.
Queen, and then from there,
That's
It
the
is.
only dude.
It's a
that's the-
pipeline. It's a pipeline.
Dairy Queen's a
Queen to
breeding
SNL.
ground. It's a breeding ground for
Yeah.
comedy filmmakers and stuff like that. So it kind of
Yeah.
is actually. Yeah.
That's the only info you gave me. I said, please send me like all your background. You said I worked at Dairy
It's right.
Queen and SNL.
Dairy Queen,
So
SNL. Yeah.
yeah. So I just want to quickly, before we get into your movie picks, I just wanted to say it because I wanted to tell the listeners and Justin this. So Paul is a director on SNL, and that is crazy. Like all the video sketches that you see, those are all shot in one day. And in the span of, I don't know, sometimes 8 hours to 16 hours, sometimes 20 hours, but it's not that much time to like shoot what they shoot. And I just want to say that like Paul is so good at what he does, obviously, because you've seen his sketches, but also like for that kind of stress, Paul is like you're like the chillest, most in control, at least from what I'm seeing. Like to the point where like my first season, I was kind of like, is anything getting, this is not an insult. This is going to sound like an insult. I'm like, is anything getting filmed? Because it was like so smooth. That's a compliment.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So I just want to say to me, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because that's a really high stress situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it seems like for the most part, our job tends to work the best with people who are really, really stressed and anal retentive, just like attention to detail and perfectionist, but don't act like they are, I guess. Like just on the surface, very calm. And I think I'm that more than most people there. I have been told that I'm very like Dan Bulla, one of the writers there, he recently said, because he said it like last show that like if I was like a general in like the Civil War or something, and I was told that like an enemy was coming to attack us. He's like, if you were a general, you would just like walk over and just be like, let's blow up that bridge and just like walk away. And like, I don't know why, because I think on the inside, I kind of had this as a kid, was on the inside, I was so much stress and so much anxiety. And, I was raised a really high strung kid. I think I just realized that it's better to kind of like not involve people in that and kind of figure it out for myself and have those swirling conversations and so many filters until before it leaves my body and comes out. And I have so many I think a lot of people who seem very chill are like that. Cuz I kind of like just keeping that all inside and figuring it out but yeah, I have been told that in nice ways and not nice ways, that I'm very like like very calm, very chill, and like maybe people think I'm high sometimes too, but I'm not.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, someone in an
So-
interview thought I was high, and I wasn't.
So can I psychoanalyze here just for a moment?
Please,
Right? Because this is something that I think I do, and I believe that Heidi does, and I think a lot of people do this.
Mhm.
How many conversations do you have with the person that you're going to be talking to before you actually have the conversation? Because I usually have like about 20.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'm going to take a little bit from conversation 2, conversation 6.
Mhm.
That's my strategy.
Yeah, I really, especially going into high pressure situations, especially like if it's like a pitch or an interview or something, I like the entire day I will have conversations in my head of how it'll go
Yeah.
for like every single variable, because I'm not a spontaneous person. Like I just had this conversation with my wife Corey. Like we went to an airport the other day, and I was like, I wanted to get there really early because I'm like a scouter. I'm a scout person who likes to like know what I'm dealing with,
Right.
and like, yeah, I do that so much, and that's also why when I started working at SNL, it was an adjustment for sure, because a lot of the conversations and things are very spontaneous because there's no time to think a lot of things through. So that was an interesting challenge for me that I'm happy I had to like use that muscle of like just gut instinct more in interactions, especially.
Well, I have a theory. I think that helps us do that thing.
Yeah.
So like all of those conversations that we've had, because I mean, that was like Heidi and I grew up in an environment where there was, yes, it was very high anxiety, lots of walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, I think you just sort of start to get into that mode of like, oh, I have to like figure this out before I open my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it can appear as spontaneous, right?
Yeah.
It has the air of spontaneity,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And then it does, yeah, just kind of like, okay, well, I've thought through about 17 things, and now,
Yeah.
they probably have thought through maybe 3.
Yeah.
So I'm already 14 up on them.
Yeah. Yeah. But Heidi, did you, when you were doing like improv and stuff, was that hard to adjust to that sort of thing?
A little bit. What was hard for me was like one of the first things they teach you in improv is, stupid shit's gonna fly out of your mouth. Like, just don't
Yeah.
say you're sorry. And that was like, growing up a Midwest kid. I mean, everything. Like, if someone bumps into me, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Like,
Mhm.
sorry for everything.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that was like, oh, I can just say anything and not have to feel bad for it.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, it was, but then what was really cool was because I really was like, I'm going to have a really hard time with that. And the teacher was like, just think about the person on the other end of all your anxiety. Like, if someone just like, brushes by you and you're like, I'm sorry, they're like, think about the way you just made them feel, actually. Like that,
Yeah.
like they're going to
What?
start thinking like, oh, did I have such a horrible reaction that like this
Mhm.
woman looks like she's about to scream and cry,
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, I don't know, that helped my anxiety a little bit. Yeah, for that.
Were you guys like did you grow up like religious or anything or like in a religious household?
No,
Mm-mm.
thank God,
Yeah.
no.
That's great.
No.
No. We actually had, I think, like the most like as far as because our mom was kind of religious,
Yeah.
right? She would like, but we were Lutherans, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you can even say that, right? So like that's like Catholic light,
Yeah.
like it's Catholicism without like the fun, right? And the pageantry.
What
So,
fun.
it's
What?
yeah, well, at least like, like here's a little bit of bread, here's a little bit of grape juice, there was none of that,
But we didn't
none of
even
the
get
none of the
that.
well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like
Yeah.
that was
That
there was
sounded
none
really
of that. It
friggin'
was
fun to me.
that would have been some
That is the
that
best
was that was
part.
that
Is
was
the
dinner in a show, right?
Yeah.
But like, there is all, like, and I think it was just slowly like she kind of realized like we didn't really want to do it. But the answer to that is yeah, we religion wasn't a very
Yeah.
big part of our
That's
life.
great.
Was it yours?
Yeah, I mean I was like raised Catholic. So I was partying with the wine and the bread. Uh
So jealous.
but like it was just like an Italian thing. It was just like a cultural thing. But it's just weird to
Right.
be so young and just like in church all the time. Because I went to like Catholic like K through 8 and I went to public high school. But like just like putting a kid it's such a weird environment for a kid to be in a lot. Like people just like singing and like saying weird stuff and like talking about weird stuff. It's just at that age you're just like soaking so much in and it's just like
Yeah.
a lot. It's a lot to take in.
I remember I went to a private Catholic school for middle school and high school, even though we weren't Catholic. But it was the first time that I ever had religion class. And after like 2 months of religion class with all these other kids that were Catholic, I was in the car with our mom and she said, God damn it. And I said, excuse you, God's last name is not damn it. And she was like, oh God. She was like, hey, stop listening in that class if this
Yeah.
is how you're going to behave.
It's just a good education. Don't pay attention
Yeah.
to other stuff.
She did not like that. Well, we're going to learn a little bit more about the kid you were through the movies that you've brought to us. I picked Paul because we talk a lot about movies. I feel like he's an avid movie watcher. I like his taste in movies, but it feels more like current. Like I know what you've been watching
Yeah.
currently. So basically on this show, we just want to like pick a few movies that you really remember just being a big deal in your world that conjure up a lot of memories about who you were when you saw it, where you were when you saw it. So yeah, what's your first one of those that you can think
So
of?
my first one is Tommy Boy.
Ooh.
The 1994
yeah.
So good.
4 or 5?
95, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. How old were you in 95?
I think I was like 8 years old.
Okay.
Because when I was because when you like told me it's about like movies I watched when I was a kid, I like got a little kind of in my head where I was like, oh, I'm like, I should be like thinking of, Coppola or whatever, like those kind of because like I'm a director. But like I didn't really get into that shit until like later, like when I was a kid, I was really into just comedy stuff, and then in film school, I got really into the like pretentious stuff. But that's kind of like what made me fall in love with movies was like comedies, and especially like Tommy Boy because it's really such a different type of comedy. Maybe I'm definitely like have nostalgia glasses about it, but it's a movie that is really sweet and has a really like uh profound like family story.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting to me because because like now knowing about it, like I've heard stories about like how it came about, and it was just like they found like Broadway Video found a script and then like just threw like an SNL writer and like a director, and they were like, we got to figure this out, and they like kind of just like spent a summer like all nighting to figure out how to make it work. But it feels so organic to me. Like it doesn't feel like just a set piecey kind of comedy. It's like a really sweet story about this kind of lost kid and finding his own direction, but with like hilarious scenes and like interplay and stuff. So I saw it when I was in Florida actually. My cousin and I, when we were 8 or 9, my parents used to just like send us to our grandparents in Florida for like 2 months in the summer. They were just like, get out of here and go to Florida. And so we were really excited to go to Florida, but then like after you do like Disney World and Universal Studios, you have like a lot left of time, and you're just kind of like, what do I do now? Especially for such a long period of time. And my grandparents, they were like very social Florida people. They like would hang out with their friends and like drink and party and like, and they were active socially. So we were kind of just like, me and my cousin John were just like hanging out together. Didn't really have much to do. So we just like see movies all the time. And Florida is a great place to see movies.
I love the fact this hasn't been talked about yet on this show. There's a whole new type of movie going experience, which is a vacation movie, which I think is really special when you're in a different state and you're going to see a movie. I just remember that being like a big deal. It's like a different theater than you're used to. Especially if you're in Florida, there's palm trees involved. Like there might be a palm tree around. Like that's cool. What do you remember the theater you saw it at?
I don't remember the name of it, but I remember it was definitely one of those theaters that wasn't really nice, but it was cool. Like it had an aesthetic to it. A lot of neon, maybe just like one concession stand, a small arcade to the side. Maybe it was in a mall. Yeah, it was in a mall. So like, but my grandparents would sort of in line with what I was saying before, like they would see like an R-rated movie and then they would line it up with a PG movie. And they'd be like, you go to that one. We're going to go to the cool one. And usually it was just like, we would just see random stuff that we didn't really want to see that was just PG. But then like Tommy Boy, I was like, oh, I've heard of this movie. I think my dad like told me about it. I think I just like knew Chris Farley. I was really excited about him. And I was really excited to see it. And I think I took my cousin to see it. I was like, this will be good. Like, let's go to see it.
And at that time, do you remember like concession stand wise? Did you have like a go-to that you would always want to get? Like, what was your drink? What was your order when you were a kid?
I was kind of like a Skittles kid.
Okay.
I was a Skittles kid for sure.
That's great.
But I would always get Skittles, but then like by the like 10th one, I would be like, oh man, there's so much more. There's so many more Skittles that I have to eat because the bags I had were huge.
Why did I do this?
That's reminding me that the concession stand Skittles are not just the regular pack of Skittles. They're like
the drugstore.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're big. So and it would just like make your mouth like raw.
Yeah.
Just like you would be like a cat's mouth or tongue or something. Just like
sugar mouth.
So rugged. Yeah. And you have like a stomach ache. And you'd be done with it for some reason by the second trailer. I think that was a Skittles kid, and I did like, I don't know, I think I did soda. I was a big soda kid when I was young, and my sister and I talk about like how insane it was that we just had so much soda as kids.
Did you like dark sodas, lighter sodas?
I think I like Coke and like Pepsi. Also like Mountain Dew.
Ooh, Mountain Dew was you were a wild child.
I was nuts. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But I think I drank because I never drink soda now. I don't even want to. like grosses me out. And I think I drank all of my like lifetime soda when I was a
Mhm.
kid. So now I'm like, my body doesn't need it anymore. It's
You're clean.
precious. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. You're sober.
yeah.
Paul's
Yeah.
sober from soda.
20
Okay,
years.
so you were there with John
Mm-hmm.
seeing
Mhm.
Tommy Boy,
Yeah.
and we're like, I mean, I just imagine because I remember seeing it in the theater with my John equivalent. Well, she wasn't my cousin, but my friend Paula. I mean, were you loving it? Like, laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it was an insane experience. It was like such a perfect ride of a movie. It was so, like you just see yourself and all these characters and all, especially as a kid, you don't realize what the actual effect it has on you. But like, it was just so fun and so funny. And like their dynamic was so funny and so special in that movie. And I really thought it was like directed really well too. It was like it was kind of like a planes, trains, and automobiles kind of thing, but it
Yeah.
was also its own thing. Um, yeah, we just like were obsessed with it for so long. And then like you quoted it. And then it's also funny now because a lot of times with movies that came out when I was younger, I thought they were like global smashes. And then I like go and see how much it like grossed or something. And it was like did okay. Like it was like sort of good. But I don't know. I think like culturally for kids at that time, it was a really big deal. It was just so funny.
Yeah.
I have a friend, real quick.
Yeah.
I have a friend, and she knew that she had met the man of her dreams because on their first date, he was quoting Tommy Boy.
Wow.
That's a big
Yeah.
deal.
Wow.
Like, so it's a big deal. I'm like, this movie, I think, means a lot to a lot of people.
Mhm.
And it's like, I think that it really found its legs. Like it kind of, I don't know if you can qualify it as like a cult classic,
It's kind of in
Um,
between. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's a movie that was discovered later.
Yeah. And it's an incredible cast too. Like Rob Lowe's in it.
Oh,
Bo Derek's
yeah.
in it. Brian Dennehy. It's really just kind of a class. Oh, Dan Aykroyd's in it too. He's like the bad guy.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was also cool because it was like an SNL movie that wasn't based on a character or anything, and it was just kind of his own thing. Um, and it just had like a real life to it. It was just so fun and so like also just kind of random in a really fun way. Like when they're singing the song together, it just seemed
Yes.
like it had that thing where someone had fun when they were coming up with it. I don't know if it was fun to shoot, but I think like someone was really comfortable with whoever they were working with when they came up with that. And that's really that really shines through. Feels very natural. I
Yeah,
just loved
plus
it.
it was a road, like you said, like a road trip movie or very planes, trains. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you screw up a road trip movie, you suck. Like, because there's just,
Yeah.
I don't know, road trip movies should just like, not that they're like an easy formula, but it should just work. It's just so joyous. Like, I don't know. And,
Yeah,
and that was part
you
of
can
that.
you can basically put anything in front of these characters that represents the next thing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they have to overcome.
Yeah.
Inherent conflict. I mean, I agree, Heidi. I think if you screw up a road trip movie, shame on you.
And it
Yeah,
also has like this real the two that Spade and Farley, like they had this really special thing where that they cared for each other, and like David Spade took care of Chris Farley, but Farley like was magic to his life or whatever. I don't know, it just seemed like their characters really appreciated each other. And that I think was the engine of why it was so good.
Yeah.
Just so fun to see them together. And the gags are so
Who,
good. It's so good. It's like the hood flying up when they're driving is so funny.
yeah.
Sorry, Heidi, I cut you off.
Who?
What were you saying?
No, I was just gonna. Speaking of the gags, would anyone here admit to having ever done the fat guy in a little coat for like a laugh at some
Of
point?
course.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
pretty. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
probably like right after that, I saw it. I did that. But I think
For
I heard
sure.
that was something that he just used to do for fun, like in the offices or something, which is like,
Yeah.
it has that quality to it.
Yeah.
But it also has like a real emotional structure to it, which is what makes it so special to me.
Yeah.
Well, the chemistry between those two is just, yeah, it's undeniable. And I cannot think of a duo since then that had that same sort of like little brother, older brother kind of, this little bit of like embarrassed, but also a lot of affinity, wanting to make sure that you're protecting them,
Mhm.
like that. You haven't really seen that same thing represented in film since they were on screen together.
Yeah, nothing's so natural. And also like in terms of the directing of the comedy and stuff, like I really love when comedies just they're very deliberate, but they're not like flashy. Like there's a thing where when they're driving in the car and Farley puts like his M&Ms on the dashboard and David Spade makes a turn and they just like the M&Ms fall into his like air vents, and like it's such a great moment because like it's so natural. It just seems like very like gentle comedy visually. And I always love that when it just like wanders to something and there's no cuts or whatever, but it's just like it's so funny.
It's just easy.
Yeah.
It's an easy, funny comedy. It's also really cute. Like, I mean, I feel like you can see it in the movie, and then just like when you hear stories about David Spade and Chris Farley, like it kind of feels like I think David Spade just felt really lucky to be in the presence of Chris Farley. Like just such a fan of your friend. And I'm sure it was like vice
Yeah.
versa. I'm sure Chris Farley felt the same, but also just like I get to be friends with the funniest person
Yeah.
alive at the time, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I'm in
Yeah,
their
totally.
bubble, and I can't even think of like comedy friends that have even been like that since, where you're just like, yeah, they're just like such obvious fans of each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that pick, Paul. That's a really good one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're really good at this show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The survey.
Okay, so
You're just trying to get the survey numbers up that I'm getting at the end.
No.
Well, no. Well, listen, it won't hurt. But
Yeah.
this is all straight from the heart,
Right.
Paul.
And
Thank
if
you.
the survey is nice to us, your odds of continually coming back as a guest when we can't book anyone else will get a lot better.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only if
Yeah, there's a sweepstakes too. So you're going to be entered into a sweepstakes.
cool.
So just keep that in mind, just make sure that you fill it out until the end, right? It's about a 20-minute survey. So.
Cool. A lot of things that I didn't know beforehand that I'm learning about here.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's
and if
great.
you win the sweepstakes, you win the copy of the SNL Film Unit shirt that Justin's wearing currently.
This current,
Yeah,
I'm not going to wash it.
Mm-mm.
It's just going to go straight into an envelope right to your doorstep.
And then your
So-
mom's going to deliver it and be like, look what I brought you.
That's right.
Myself.
Honey, it's your lucky day.
Okay, so Paul, what is your next pick for Where We Were When?
So my next pick is the movie Dogma. Kevin Smith
Ooh.
movie. I
Ooh.
kind of talked a little bit about being raised Catholic
Mhm.
and stuff,
Mhm.
which is connected to this.
Right.
That movie I haven't watched in a long time, but when I was in high school, I watched it like constantly. I was a bit, so I was raised like pretty, I guess, sheltered, and then my parents got divorced, and then like all hell broke loose. So I just kind of my mom moved to like a condo town, and like those condo towns are like, it's just like lawless basically. And I just like met all these like these kids that were just riding bikes all over the place, and like I was like, whoa, this is nuts. And
Condo
and
kids.
yeah, just kind of, I don't know, like kind of a lost vibe or something. I don't know. Condos are such an interesting place to me. It's just like people are either like on their way above it and it's a step on the way, or they've like fallen to that, you know? It's like no one is like, yeah, I live here in this weird complex.
Like no one's settled. It's like
yeah, no one's settled.
You're kind of walking on eggshells in your condo atmosphere.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a transient existence.
It is. And so I lived there with like my new stepbrothers and my new like my stepdad and everything, and
Wow.
they were, you know, that environment was less like strict and like, I guess I want to say good, but it was just very it was very just like, whoa, what the hell is all this stuff? And I like one of my stepbrothers like introduced me to Kevin Smith, and like I watched.
And how old were you? Really quick.
I honestly must have been like around when I moved to there, I was like 9, like 10 maybe.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So it was like a real like change of, you know, lifestyle, obviously. But I'm ultimately like very happy that I did all this stuff because it made me like more, or experience it made me more well-rounded. But I was watching like Clerks and like you know, Mallrats and stuff. I mean, it's maybe like 12, a little older. And among other stuff that was like inappropriate for that age, but also really good. So I was just like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with this type of comedy. And I also was really obsessed with Jason Lee, the guy from Mallrats, the actor, who's like, he was like my number one, like I want to be him crush type person.
Yes. Yeah. He was like
so
the
funny.
funniest of the indie movie people. It was Jason Lee. You're just like, and you felt cool just knowing who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was a crossover too, right? I mean, like he started and he was a skateboarder, so he had already like kind of conquered one, you know, like really difficult, because you look at skateboard and you're like, how the fuck do they do that, right? And now he's just so funny. It's like, it's not fair. It's like I feel like I had the same feeling. Like he is somebody that I like aspire to be.
Yeah, and just so naturally talented. So naturally funny. Like all those Mallrats lines, he's just like so natural, so funny.
What, you want to say something? Yeah, about a million things, but I can't express myself monosyllabically enough for you to understand them all.
Killed it.
So I was really into him. And then when Dogma came out, I was maybe like 14 or 15. And I actually, the reason why I remember that movie so clearly is because I had my first kiss during that movie.
To Dogma.
To Dogma. To like the end of Dogma.
Wow.
Like, yeah, we watched
with the shit monster and like right after the shit monster.
Yeah, you know it's time.
Makes its appearance.
You know it's time.
It's that's the time for romance.
Oh my God, that's huge. So like you were kind of thinking about kissing someone the whole movie,
time.
Right?
The whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah. Like my I don't know if we were boyfriend. I don't think we were dating at that time, but like the girl who ended up being like my high school girlfriend, she came over to the condos as you do. And at that, so I had like a room shared with my stepbrother, but I think I graduated to like another room. So I had my own room, which was great. And so I played the politics right of the condo experience, and I got my own room. And so she like came over, and then we like, it was like freezing cold. It was one of those like East Coast like February nights or something like that. And It was just one of those things where you're like, what do you want to do? What do you like, what you both want, but you don't really know how. And we like walked around in the freezing cold, and I think we like drank some weird thing like in a water bottle, like some weird vodka thing in like a Gatorade bottle.
Where do you think you got the vodka?
She had an older brother who like was pretty loose with his, stuff. Or are you somewhere? I don't know, like just parents or something.
You Catholics and your liquor,
I
man.
know.
The Catholics have access to liquor that we never had.
Yeah. It's a real like gold mine. That was the one thing that was good. But so we like walked around, and then we came back, and then we were like, well, let's watch a movie. And I think I rented Dogma, and we just like watched the whole movie. And it's like a long movie. It's like a 2.5 hour long movie.
Whoa.
And it's funny, but it's a lot. It's like very heavy in terms of like lots of dialogue. There's some black comedy in it, some dark comedy. It was just like, it was a real ride. But the thing is, like, at the end of Dogma, the best part, in my opinion, is like the casting of God. Do you remember who plays God in Dogma?
Yes, I do.
It's so good. Do we say it? Do we spoil it or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoil it.
Yeah.
You do the honors, Paul.
Is
You're the
Alanis
guest.
Morissette plays God. And like, it's such a great, like, kind of sweet ending. And then it like rolls into this like song of hers that I still remember. It was like not a popular Alanis Morissette song, and then we just like kissed during the credits, like at the very end.
Aw.
Yeah. It was cool.
I like really love. I'm totally like just imagining, not being her. I'm imagining watching you guys, these two kids. Like, I just love her arriving with a bottle of Gatorade vodka, then you being like, come in, and then you realizing like you don't have anything planned, and then so you're like, what do you want to do? And she's like, I'm being that age, I would be like, I don't care, whatever you want to do. And then you're like, do you want to go like walk around the block? And then you guys walk around the block.
Walk to a playground or something.
Yeah. And maybe that's when she's like, hey, I got this for my brother. And she like pulls out the vodka. You like drink a little of that. You get your like little liquid courage. And then I like love thinking about a 16-year-old Paul then getting back and being like, so do you want to watch Dogma? Like, instead of like just like going for the kiss, you picked the 2.5 hour roadblock to the kiss.
Yeah, to that just happening. And we're just like sitting up straight watching this movie.
And I like so hope, like, I'm sure she was probably like down for it, but like in my fantasy right now, I wish it was a girl who had like never heard of Dogma and like just said yes and then had to watch Dogma. Like,
well, she definitely like didn't want to. Like I assume she didn't. I didn't want to. Like, neither of us wanted to. Yeah, but it's such like it's not like a easy movie, right? Like there's like characters, there's like Silent Bob, and you have to like know who these guys are. There's rants about like faith and stuff.
Well, see, here's why I was such a like Mallrats, Clerks, Chasing Amy fan. I was like such a huge Good Will Hunting fan that when I heard that Kevin Smith's next movie would have both Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, I was like, he got Matt Damon. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a huge get. Yeah.
And then you hear the rest of the cast, Chris Rock's in it. It's just like, I was so excited for Dogma. And then it was just so heavy and dense compared to what I thought it would be. That like, I can't remember much about it other than just like, oh my God, that was like a load that I did not.
It really is like hanging out with someone that you like, but like has a lot to say. like getting a
Yes.
drink with someone who just has so much to say, but is like funny. But like, you're like, I didn't ask for all of that to be
Yes.
said to me. And ultimately, I think it holds up, but it's just, after, I think people were confused because it was the next one after Chasing Amy, I think. And
Yeah.
he was really going down a path of tone and it was really different. And like, there's, the main character, like she like works in an abortion clinic and she can't have children. It's like very heavy.
Is it Linda Fiorentino?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's
Right.
kind of
Yeah, she's the main
a
character.
polarizing actress in a way. I just feel like some people think like they get her vibe, and then there might be a camp that is not into that vibe. And so
100%.
that was an interesting casting choice, I thought, too. When I was going back and just like remembering who all was in the cast, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. I don't think I was expecting that vibe either.
Yeah, she's not an easy like actor to get, but I get that. I get her vibe. But what were you gonna say? But what?
Well, I was gonna say, but you might be a little bit jealous. Justin kind of had a leg up on both of us with Dogma.
What?
I did, but I mean, but it's because it's the same thing with the sweatshirt. I actually read the screenplay before the film was made.
Whoa. How?
But exactly,
Yeah.
right? Like, so like, I don't know. Well, I know how it happened. I don't know how the person who Heidi bought it from on the street got it.
Oh my God.
But Heidi went to New York City.
Oh yeah, I remember that. They used to have like scripts and stuff, right? On the street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they had bootleg movies and then scripts that were being made into movies just in case you wanted to ruin it for yourself. and she brings this script home and I'm like, holy shit. Like, cause that's the big movie, right?
It was anticipated. Yeah.
And that is the moment when cause I read the script, I read it like, and it was fucking long.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a long script, right? And I think that was one of the first scripts I read. Like, I mean, it was like, oh shit, like I have to read this.
Were you a big Kevin Smith fan?
It is my duty.
Were you a big fan of him?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean that was like, Clerks and then Mallrats, even though Mallrats got just like, raked over the coals. I loved Mallrats. I thought it was awesome. Chasing Amy was clearly just amazing, right?
That.
He was the guy. I mean, like Kevin Smith was setting the tone for comedy. In that, like, the emergence of the indie, he was like the indie Steven, he was the comedic Steven Soderbergh, right? And so I was like, I got to read this. I have to read this. Right. And I read it and I'm like, this is fucking brilliant. Like, this is so brilliant. Right. And, I will say, I mean, like, and this has happened to me every single time, whether I've read a book, whether I've read a screenplay, an unproduced screenplay, because I have read a couple others before something got made. It just kind of fucks up the movie for me.
Yeah.
Because like you have that expectation of how you think it should do. And especially that first scene, where I'm like, this is how he's going to shoot this, right? Like, I'm like, in an airport. Like, I was like, I'm okay, and then, I wasn't, right. I wasn't exactly picturing Linda Fiorentino as like the main character.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So I had already cast it in my head. All these.
What did you have in your head? What
'cause
type of person?
I think probably Joey Lauren Adams.
Totally.
I felt like I had her.
Yeah.
Like somebody who was a little bit more bubbly, somebody who actually probably wanted to be in the movie.
Yeah,
right?
I heard she like wasn't into it or something, right? Like she clashed with Kevin Smith or something, I heard.
Yeah. And I have to imagine being on a Kevin Smith set has got to be like, because he just seems like open and cool and whatever. And if you're the fucking wet blanket on a Kevin Smith set, like it's like, That's your problem, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I was thinking like a Joey Lauren Adams, because like, I mean, like, are you talking like the biggest crush
Yeah.
in the world at that time on Joey Lauren Adams, because it was Chasing Amy and Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
I mean, and that voice.
If you come pick me up, I'll be your best friend.
I mean,
Yeah.
just the cutest ever, right? Still to this day,
Yeah.
like up there in like top 3 crushes. You know, she is still crushing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I read this and I'm like, how did you? She's like, oh, I just, I bought it off the street, and it was just this gift. And like, I was like, at that point, like, I mean, I was like, my sister's fucking cool.
I mean, at this point, you have
like
we're giving you burritos, giving you magic scripts, like change your
getting
life.
Fired,
Getting fired for you.
Screenplay.
It is so funny, that screenplay thing, like, because I remember when I go to New York City, there'd be scripts on the street of movies that haven't come out yet, and like, how do you think that? What was that transactional process? Just like an assistant somewhere got it and like went to some black market distributor or something and gave it to them.
That's how they probably weren't paid very well. So I bet it was all those assistants that were like, you know what? We're going to fucking sell these things on the street.
Disgruntled, yeah,
right?
For sure.
That's how we're going to get back at them.
100%, yeah.
Go out, go to Kinko's, print 1,000 of these, deploy the army, and we're going to claw some of that fucking money back.
Yeah.
Because there were like so many on the script table. And also I'm shocked. I went with a friend and her stepmom because she had gotten tickets to the Rosie O'Donnell show. And like, so we were just kind of like biding time.
That's why you were there.
Till we got to the Rosie show. And I'm just surprised that my friend's stepmom, like even, I'm guessing it was on Canal Street. Like, I don't know, got us down to all the like bootleg stuff. But like
that is a type, that's a type of New York tourist though. Like, I just want to go to where all the bootleg like sunglasses and stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
But I'm like, I would have been like 15 probably, and like didn't have a lot of money, and or had like a certain amount I could spend on the trip. And I do remember there were just, I could have bought you 20 of them because they were like all the movies that were coming out, like that I knew that we wanted to see, Justin. But I knew like there was such an anticipation for Dogma, like because you heard that cast, and for me, like that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon again in a movie together was like,
it was the dream cast.
Yeah.
I mean, he was able to get the dream cast together.
Yeah.
And it was also interesting because it was like his first, I think it was his first like bigger budget movie. I don't think it was like very expensive. I think it was like $10 million or something, but like it was probably the beginning of him realizing his own limits as a director, maybe. Or like everyone else realizing them. Like what you were saying, like the first scene is like this guy, the god like character in like a random person's thing at a skee ball place, and the like hockey kids are like coming after it. It just like doesn't look like there's some action in it and like some fighting, and it's just very like someone punches and it's just like they fall. It's just very like not captivating direction. I would say
it was an ambitious script.
Yeah.
That's how we say that, right? It was an ambitious script.
Now, okay, speaking of captivating directing, since you are a director, okay, what I want to ask you now, because we've talked about the vacation movie, we've talked about the first kiss movie. Was there a movie for you where you remember seeing it and being like, I want to do that? Like,
yeah, I mean, a lot of different ones. Like my favorite director is Steven Soderbergh. Like I'm just obsessed with him and his like ability to do so many different types of incredible things. But like the one that like sort of makes me think like I want to make like comedy movies was Wet Hot American Summer. Like that. That's not something that people say like is a great film or whatever. It's not like the filmmaking, but I think that it's such a perfect comedy that really triggered something in me when I saw it. Like I saw it over for the first time. It was another condo kid. I was like, you know,
Ooh.
I was getting more into the like condo crowd, but like luckily I got out. But it was like this stoner kid, Josh. And I never liked smoking weed when I was a teenager, but I would always like hang out with those kids and then be like, oh no, they're bringing out weed. Like I gotta smoke weed now. Like, and so I would do it and I would hate it. But he brought out Wet Hot American Summer and I was like, what is this movie? And so much is just so perfect in it and makes you feel like I don't know, just so original. Like I've never seen a movie like that. Like it kind of feels like the like what you hear about like Animal House in like the 70s or something. Like it kind of reminds me of that in terms of its impact on like not on a mainstream level, but on like seated like slow burn of like influence in comedy. Yeah, that was one that just was like a huge earthquake for me. I love that movie.
That a fun fact, that one came out on my birthday.
Really?
And I think Justin, I think you took me to that movie on my birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We went to see that at the Screenland Crossroads. The first location is Screenland Crossroads. And it was one of those like, I mean, it's just like, I just think that is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
It knows exactly what it is. It knows exactly what it's making fun of. It has so many weird takes on that type of thing. The perfect cast for that. All those people are in on the joke. And so they're just nailing it to the wall. I believe that was Bradley Cooper's first film role.
Wow. It's insane.
Yeah. I think that was his first film role. And he's obviously like, awesome in it. But I mean, like Paul Rudd in that movie is
a revelation.
The biggest dick, and just has the best line.
Can I talk to you for a second?
Sure.
Okay, well...
Time's up. You said a second.
I want to ask you something.
So you want to talk for more than a second?
I mean, like, I just, like, and just that fucking, like, sneer that he does, like...
There's one, like, move in that where he, like, spins around a pole and, like, gives the finger.
Yes.
He's, like, spins around it real fast.
It's
so
like
cool.
Spin. He's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the way he like throws a fork or something and he has to go pick it up or some like so he's from where Justin and I are from, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, he's from Overland Park. We're from Kansas City. But the year after Wet Hot American Summer came out, I was illegally at one of the bars in Westport. I was like 18 or 19 at Harley's and it was Thanksgiving break. And Paul Rudd was there.
Oh my God.
And my friends and I, because after Justin took me to see Wet Hot American Summer, I was obsessed with it. And like the second it came out on video, I showed all my friends it and they like loved it too. And I was there with two of my friends, Ashley and Michelle, and we spot Paul Rudd and we're like freaking out. I mean, he was already a hometown hero, but then he was like an indie movie hero. And you find out he's like also so funny. And so I went up to him all nervous and I was like, hi, I just wanted to tell you like how much I love Wet Hot American Summer. And he was like, you've seen that? And I was like, yeah, it's like, we've all seen it. It's like our favorite movie. And like, you in it are so funny. And he was so sweet and he talked to us. And then hopefully I have the picture so we can show it on here. I was like, can we get a picture with you? And he was like, yeah, totally. And I was like, will you act like your character in Wet Hot American Summer? And so he's got this real dick face in it.
Oh, man. I love that.
Yeah.
That's
and
so funny.
The last time he hosted, I pulled that picture up for him. And, yeah.
Yeah, you did something with him on that home thing too, right?
Yeah, I did. He was my cousin.
So cool.
I was his cousin, yeah.
Pretty Mandy.
Yeah.
Pretty Mandy. Yeah. And the nicest guy too, because I think that he was the last episode a couple years ago. And Paul, I think that's when I met you, and I met the other Paul the same night, and he was just like, because I asked Heidi, I was like, I want to meet Paul Rudd. Could you please introduce us? And she's like, okay, well, I'll see what I can do, and it's like, and I just, I was just like, okay, I think he's, because I was like, eyeing my sort of like, he's like the only person I've ever wanted to meet, like I was like, and I was just kind of eyeing. It's like, okay, I think we've got an opening, and so she took me over, said, "Oh, this is my brother," da 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 da, and he was like genuinely engaged, like, "Oh, what do you do? Like, oh, cool,"
Yeah.
I mean, he was like really talking to me, and I was like, Kansas City, like this is. That's Kansas City nice. Like that is seriously like it just it's not a joke. Like it's just there's a different level of like niceness.
Yeah, you like
and it's
you
like,
care. It's just more like soul.
Yeah.
It comes from your soul. Like it reminds me because we did some like music video shoot with him on Friday, and then it was the last shoot, so we did like a big crew photo of our whole crew, and he like came up and was just like, "Hey, can I be in the photo?" And obviously the crew was like so excited, and like he came in it.
Right. Yeah.
He was just like so. Yeah, he's the best and so funny.
Such a
So
nice
good.
guy.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you had that experience, and it's so nice that he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
Those. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I'm so sorry that like as we come to near the end of this, that like a different Paul is getting way more attention and love. And I kind of feel like the episode is probably gonna be more about him at this point. And what
Well,
a
if you
good
ever
guy.
have him on the show, I would expect you to do the same to him.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk
I like
about
that.
me.
Paul, did you know that Paul Briganti actually got really high and watched Wet Hot American Summer?
In a condo.
Yeah, I think it's a
In
good story.
condo.
In a condo. Yep. And just had his mind blown. I love that story. I love that
Yeah.
story. I wanna talk real quickly though about Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Kind of go back to Tommy Boy a little bit. Because there was an era of, and we're getting close to the end here, so like, I'm sorry I'm kind of bringing this
No.
back, but Tommy Boy, I believe, was produced by Broadway Video.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so you had mentioned that. So the SNL movies,
Yeah.
right? Like the SNL produced, like those weren't the characters, right? Like those
Yeah.
weren't the characters from SNL, but obviously like, the Spade Farley thing was a thing,
Yeah.
right? And they just kind of took that and they translated that. But like there were so many good SNL movies,
Yeah.
like back in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And I just want that again. I really want that, it's
know.
like they're not making them anymore, right? And I feel like with streaming, like there could be like one every 3 months, or 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like so.
I think it just comes in
I-
waves or something. Like it like was a bunch of them in the 90s, and then there were none. There were a bunch in like I think there were a bunch in like the early 2000s or something, maybe. Like when it was like
Well, it was
Ladies
like
Man.
Hot Rod.
Oh, Hot Rod. Yeah, that was a pro. Yeah. Yeah, like
it was Hot Rod and Popstar wasn't that Broadway Video too? Because like that whole Lonely
Maybe,
Island
yeah.
trio, like they were making stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're saying, Ladies Man.
Yeah.
Like go ahead.
Oh
with
no,
that
yeah,
thought.
yeah, and then my favorite ones are like Hot Rod or like Tommy Boy, and there's so many of them where like I forget that they were produced by them, and I'm just like, oh yeah, when I'm like watching it, it's pretty cool. Like there's maybe one like a few Dana Carvey ones like back in the day.
Wayne's World.
Well, Wayne's World, yeah, of course.
Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
I guess
perfect.
Mean
SNL.
Girls might have
Perfect.
been because that was Tina Fey, and I think
Mhm.
with Broadway Video and stuff. So that was like sort of an SNL movie, but yeah, there's like, I think it just happens in waves when it sort of is like building, when people want to do them. But I like loved all those movies so much.
All of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
We should do one, Heidi. Let's do one. You know?
Well, I mean, you just need the right actress and the right director. And
starring me,
so-
directed by you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just
I like
to
it.
mix it up a little bit. I think maybe that's the
Right.
thing. It's like people figured out the formula. Oh, the cast is going to be in the movies. We're like,
Right.
no, F that. The director is going to
Mhm.
be in the movie.
That's what
Flip it.
everyone
Yeah.
wants.
That's
I love
right.
that. I love that. And I love that we really learned about your progression from Dairy Queen, from Blizzard Boy to Hollywood starlet, the King of New York.
The King of New
Yep. That's what I am.
through you know,
It's perfect.
vacations in
Yeah.
Florida, to your grandparents, hanging out with your cousin. Then you get a little older, you get a little bolder, you get a little more kissier because you're in a condo. Your taste kind of like, you know, gets from Dogma to Wet Hot. You're moving around condos, you're seeing more films with more people, you're getting high, which I don't agree with. I don't condone that on this podcast.
Well, I was regrettably
I do.
high.
I condone it.
Yeah, well, we
You're
don't
fine.
agree on that, and that's fine.
That's right. That's right. That's fine.
But so we know a lot about Paul in the past. We get it. But the way that we like to close out our show is we like to bring it a little current. We like to get back to 2021. And Paul, what Justin and I want to know is, what are you obsessed with right now, currently? What are you into? It can be anything.
I've been thinking about this, and this is the only thing I could come up with. Because I
Love
don't
it.
get into new obsessions, but I'm like just obsessed with my like work and what I love and everything.
That's
but
okay.
I guess the closest thing I could think of, which was really amazing and an obsession that will go away tomorrow, is so my wife Corey and I, we went to Hawaii like last week, and we were just kind of last minute, you know, we were like, let's just do it, and we kind of broke down and did it. And we did this thing with manta rays. We went swimming with manta rays. And
yeah.
I never thought about manta rays ever. I wasn't sure I know what it is, but what it was, but now they're my favorite thing in the world, and I'm obsessed with them. And
They're really cute, right? Like,
yeah,
They've got that little face.
yeah, they have a little
Yeah.
face.
Like they have that little
and a
the
huge
smile.
mouth.
Yeah.
Huge mouth and
smile.
smile. And the way it is, they put you in the water, and it's kind of like all those snorkeling type of things where you're just like, who are these guys doing this? Like, is this safe? And they just kind of throw you in the water. They just like dump you in there, and a guy holds a surfboard, and there's a giant light on the bottom of it. It's at night, and you're just in the ocean,
wow.
and there's all these manta rays. They're attracted to the light because that's where their food comes to. The krill or whatever, the plankton like goes to the light. So they just like, they're like maybe 8-10 feet wide, and they just like come so close to you, and they do these like amazing backflips and spins and stuff, and they're so scary looking, but they're so sweet
Oh.
and like
And did
peaceful.
you like kind of pet them and stuff?
Yeah, they say you're not supposed to like touch them, but they like come to you and they like touch you, which was nuts and like terrifying for the first 20 minutes. Like I really was like, also like the day before there was a shark attack there's like a shark attack around the hotel. So Corey and I were both like pretty on edge, and like it was actually very cinematic in a terrifying way, because like there's a light that comes from the surfboard, so you only see what's in the light, and then just like it's just blackness like on every side. So my anxiety ridden brain that we were talking about before was just like, what is in the darkness? Just imagining like a shark just like looking at us, just kind of like looking at which one he wants to eat all of. But there were no sharks for us, which was great. Yeah, but it was like incredible. And it was like, now I'm just like looking up manta rays. I'm like watching videos of them and stuff and like learning more about them.
You are obsessed with manta rays right now. I love it.
Have you guys ever done anything like that? Or like snorkel scary things that are fun?
I did. And I honestly don't know if this is like, it felt like the dolphins wanted to do it, right?
Oh,
I'm
God.
interested in this. What the fuck?
Horrid.
Yes.
You got
All
high.
right,
You
so,
got high with dolphins. You made them smoke weed.
Yeah. They're cool. They're cool. They
What happened?
actually dolphins do get high. They do get high. They punch punch jellyfish or they eat jellyfish and like the toxins actually get them high. Like dolphins have a very complicated life. No, but like they basically it was this swimming with dolphins experience, and these dolphins are trained to basically find the bottoms of your feet. Two dolphins, right? You're just in the water and they find the bottoms. They swim around and they find the bottoms of your feet, and then they push you up so that you're literally look like you're just like gliding through the water like a goddamn superhero. And I'm sure there's a picture. I don't know where this picture is, but look it up. Like they literally just like push you up. Now I will say this, and it's like $150, right? Because like with the photos and all this other stuff, the dolphins just did not seem like they really wanted to be there. When you actually got in, it's like, oh, dolphins. And they're just like kind of swimming around. They're just waiting for their fish. Right. It's like, okay, we're going to do our fucking job and get out of here. And to the next one, to the next one. They're pros. Yeah. They just, they're not fucking around. But it was like genuinely like kind of like awe-inspiring as you're just being lifted up out of the water, and it seems like you're water skiing without a boat.
Oh my God.
Dolphin skiing. Wow.
It really is. It's like it's like you're Aquaman.
Oh my God.
You're like on the noses of these fucking dolphins, just like gliding through the water. It's insane. It's insane. You should look it up because it is a real thing. And I just had to do it. I had to do it. And I still feel a little guilty because I just didn't feel like the dolphins were really into it. But
I hate it.
I mean, they got their fish. They got their fish. So
I've never heard of it.
Even Steve.
And I hate it. It is terrifying. And if I ever had to see my brother being carried like that.
Who were you with? Were you like with buddies or something, or what was your?
No, it was a girlfriend. It was a girlfriend, and I'm pretty sure she hated it too.
You're the only one who
relationship
liked it. You're
ended.
The only one who enjoyed it.
Relationship ended soon after. Yeah, but it's a place called Xel-Há in Mexico, and and I was like, I'm gonna do this. And she's like, okay, all right, and it was such a touristy very, very touristy thing to do. But I don't usually do touristy stuff.
That sounds
I'm like,
cool. I would do that.
Ride on the noses of dolphins. I'm gonna like ski across the surface of this water like. Did
you see someone do it before you did it, or did you just go in blind?
I saw videos, and that was enough. I saw pictures and videos, and I'm like, that's for me. I'm doing it. I'm gonna do it.
Damn.
Yeah, the dolphin. It was like the dolphin experience, or something like that, or it's like riding with dolphins, swimming with dolphins, something along those lines. I like your situation a lot better.
I do too.
I think that's what I would dial into these days.
Sure.
Just kind of like having like a manta ray just calmly, just kind of brush up against you and just be like, "Hello, human. How are you?"
Yeah.
Yours is pretty cool.
I like
yours
that
is
idea.
Pretty cool though.
It's pretty cool. You know what else is cool? We've got a little tradition here on the show. And the very last thing that I like to do, and Heidi loves it, is I generally, what I do is it's like I've got some pretty good ideas, right? And so I generally like pitch her a sketch, right? Paul, I'm sure you're pretty familiar with this. I'm sure you get this all the time. I'm not going to do that today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pitch you a new SNL film.
Okay. Wait, Justin, because I'm sorry. Like, I just no.
Why are you sorry?
Okay, Paul, I'm sorry because I feel like we talked about this thing that you want to do for the episodes where it's just you and I. Okay, and
Well, we did talk about that, but
okay, so
I'm
I was not.
I'm improv
Okay,
right now.
I got it. I was not aware that you would be doing it when we have a guest on the show, especially when it's a guest that I work with. Okay. And I was almost ready to choke that down until you just said, I'm going to pitch you a film at the end of the show to a director on SNL. Like,
That's right.
I'm sorry, Paul.
Why would I pitch him a
It's
sketch?
fine.
I
I don't let him say it. I just,
Oh,
sorry, not to like
there you
get
go.
involved with your guys' baggage or whatever, but like, I'm okay.
No,
I don't
you're
mind.
okay. Okay.
Listen,
if it's okay, it's okay.
The suitcases are on the airplane. The suitcases are on the airplane. This is we're
Okay.
We've got liftoff. All right. I finally, Paul, thank you. I finally get to like share more than 3 words. So I really appreciate it. Okay. So, the film is called, well, you know what? I really don't know what the film's called. The operating title is Angel with Dirty Wings,
Okay.
right? Heidi's got this character named Angel, right? And every boxer's girlfriend from every movie about boxing ever.
I'm taking the kids to my sister's.
Movie. Perfect character to make a movie. You're going to love this, Heidi. Trust me. And so, but here's the deal, right? Tommy has fallen on hard times, right? He gets involved. This is a Boston film, right? He gets involved with the local crime syndicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tommy gets in trouble, right? Owes a lot of money, right? He tries to he gets into a boxing match. He almost gets killed, but he still owes this vig, right? So who's there? Who has to get the money? Angel. She turns to a life of crime.
No.
She becomes a Boston crime lord, right?
No.
Perfect.
No.
What do you mean no?
That's
what do you mean
my
no?
character. I came up with that. That's what means
I know.
no.
Well, I know.
That's what no
I know.
is.
I'm
No.
Well, listen. I listen. It's this is between me and Paul at this point. So, she becomes a Boston crime lord, and it is a perfect way to parody all of those Boston crime movies, right? Like you've got The Departed, you've got The Town,
Classics.
I think it would be hilarious. It's classics. I think it would be hilarious. I don't know. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty. Yeah, I think it's. I think we.
Thank you.
You know, I even would want it to be like a real movie than like a sketch.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is an SNL movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Oh, it's a
pitched
movie.
you a
I
real
thought you were
movie.
pitching a sketch. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I think that's a great. It's a great call. I think
All right,
maybe.
gross.
Maybe. Yeah.
Gross.
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 Well, would you listen to Paul? Paul, would you work on her a little bit? Like,
I'll
when
try.
it gets
I'll
back,
try.
you guys are hanging out with Elon, right? And it's in between.
I mean, if we're looking for
things, you
financing,
just be like,
that's the way to go. Like.
Yeah.
pitch it to Elon. Pitch it to Elon. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like that easy way to raise some money,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And just please work on her. Paul, you're a sweetheart.
Yeah,
I
of course.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Paul, for
Thank you guys.
all of that, including dealing with that last part.
That was my favorite part.
Okay.
I didn't like the
cool.
other parts.
Okay, cool. Well, you're gonna get the survey 1 second after you log out, and you can fill
I'll
out
say
everything you like.
if I grew courage enough to wear
I think so.
scandalous t-shirts.
Yeah.
Scandalous or
Yeah.
non-scandalous. I think the seal's been broken.
I do. I
Put
feel
your
good.
famous
Yeah.
put your famous
Yeah.
penis, of course, shirt on tomorrow. Wear it with pride. And report back.
I will. Thank you guys.
Well, thank you, Paul. And thank you all for listening. This was a really fun episode. And Justin, thank you.
Thank you, Heidi, as always.
Thanks so much. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
In the past few years, she's written for the Santa Clarita Diet. She's written for the upcoming Marvel Disney Plus show, She-Hulk. And she just was the set writer for the forthcoming film, Shotgun Wedding. My very, very good friend, Melissa Hunter. Welcome, Melissa.
Hi. Hello. I'm so excited to be here. What an intro.